Hey viewers, today we'll be taking a look at the Ferrari FXX-K in Asphalt 9. Now, this car recently had a car hunt, and unfortunately I did forget to play it, so I didn't have any epics. Although if I did have epics, I would have put down top speed, because this car lacks mainly that, and then handling would probably come next, even though it probably wouldn't do anything either. So, I think this is around 4 races, I think, of just me driving around the FXX-K and somehow winning. I couldn't record that many races, mostly because I just recorded these today, and I was just too lazy to record anything else. Because I'm just too lazy to record any footage for Asphalt 9 videos, and all the videos I have now are no longer relevant to the game at this point. So I don't see a point to uploading them at now in this current point in time. Anyway, a recent update on this game is, well, Drive Syndicate 4 recently ended, which, well, I only got the Gallardo, Celine S1, and GTR 50 Utah design. I only got those out of it, and barely at the stars required for them anyway, and I only got the GTR 50 at 2 stars, which is quite unfortunate. Now, with the SCG 007, yes, I am calling it 007 because who cares about James Bond? The fact that they copyrighted that number is honestly hilarious. Anyway, the 007, I did manage to win it, even though I missed 2 days or 2 rounds, and, well, I was in a 2-2 lobby. I managed to get 3rd, and I got to keep the decal and the car, so that's pretty cool. I have it 2 stars, so I will try to at least upload a video about it, although it might be a little bit difficult now that I'm in Legend League. Anyway, back to this car. Well, I do think this car is quite underrated, but it's underrated for the right reasons. Now, stats-wise, it's not very interesting, like, at all. Yes, I think it had the lowest top speed in Class S when it first came out, which was during the game's launch. And I think that's what turned people away from it. It's just quite a low top speed. And, well, you can also probably tell here the drifting is not great. It's definitely not bad, but it's also, like, not good. It's kind of, like, really mediocre, especially since, well, this is a this is a Class S car, so it would make sense for it to at least perform like a Class S car. But as you've seen in any other class, there are cars that deserve to be in the bottom class, but they can't because of father's sake, and also standards of the game back then were a lot different than they are now. Anyway, now I think this car would have gone like, I think 234 miles per hour with golden top speed, because it goes 363 flat kilometers at stock, I mean without nitro and with golden top speed. And here I take a long shot win, probably because I was racing against Class B cars. The next race I will be going against cars like the Bugatti Chiron and Corvette Grand Sport. I think this is actually more of a comeback race as I get knocked down by Grand Sport, and I just almost catch up. It's just this car just doesn't have any standout feature to help me catch up, and I think 2 people disconnect in this race. Anyway, this recent updates on the game's current special events. Well, the Naren special event I can't start because, well, my Arashi F10 is only 2 stars and I don't have the Victor, and I don't care about grinding its legend run. Because honestly, I just don't care for cars that drop rates as bad as that, and I need to get 70 blueprints for it. Absolutely not. Now here I get knocked down because the Grand Sports, obviously they don't know how to drive in proper lines. It would have been faster if you just passed me normally, although I wouldn't have been able to catch up because the fact this is Auckland, and, well, I can't really use my slightly higher top speed to catch up to them. And by slightly, I mean this thing is probably 19 miles per hour faster. But this thing does have better acceleration and obviously the top speed as mentioned earlier. It's just, unfortunately, that's just not enough in Auckland, especially in the newer tracks, which are very handling focused. Now, I honestly don't care about handling focused tracks. I honestly think they should have like a healthy balance, like New York, except New York definitely did have a lot of the annoying hairpins, not hairpins, but 90-degree turns, which don't really make sense in a high-speed racing game, although Asphalt 9 in itself is quite slow-paced when you think about it. And here I almost wrecked, but I passed the race and through it anyway, and somehow there's a Chiron that hit me here. No, in the next race I get, nope, right there. Anyways, in this second last race, I think we come up with a pretty nice finish. I'm not going to spoil it, but there is a tour tire in this. It's one of those V8 sounds, not the 918 though. There is a 918 behind me as well. And here I usually just go the same way I always do, and since this car's acceleration is actually quite nice and the nitro is quite long, I'm able to actually get in front of them and stay almost in front of them until the top speed cars start getting up to their speed. And here, lag compensation teleports that guy all the way up. Now, keep an eye on him because something will happen to him. And something will be caused from that, and that is my final position. Now, here I try to fend off a 918, which 918 is actually slower than this car, I think by 0.2 kilometers at golden max, and without epics, I think a 918 is slower than this thing without epics. Either that or on par. So that means the 918 won't actually have a chance to catch up to me. And here, the Tuatara gets knocked down, and so I get my chance to start pulling away into second place. Because even though this car's drifting is quite terrible in speed, it can actually keep ahead of itself in case you have nitro. And this was actually a 918 that was behind me. It was not a Tuatara, because that Tuatara would have zipped past me. And here you can see that was an almost golden max Tuatara. I think it was one epic away from golden max actually. Now, in this last race, I'd like to give you my thoughts on this car. Despite this car being, well, a launch car, so it's not very good, especially since it's not even a mid-end Class S car. The top speed is quite slow, even for low-end Class S standards or even Class A standards, it's very slow. The acceleration is actually really nice, especially when you go it has an acceleration of 83.9 flat. The handling and drifting leaves much to be desired because, especially since this is a car that can drive upside down, and you know Game Loft, they really like butchering cars that can drive upside down. The nitro is quite long, and I do like that. It does at least give it one redeeming feature, and here we managed to fend off this Tuatara, but only barely. He managed to pass us anyway. Anyway, I truly hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'd like to thank you for watching. Maybe leave a like, comment, subscribing, or joining my Discord if you really wanted to. And I hope to see you in my next one. Goodbye.